Action News. Good morning, Las Vegas.
An inside look into the criminal history of a man accused of sexually assaulting a woman in broad daylight in a family park.
The latest in the ongoing conflict with Iran and the U.S. after Iranian lawmakers were chanting death to America inside Parliament.
Why the most child drownings happen in June and how you can protect your family. Good morning, Las Vegas. I'm Beth Fisher.
And I'm Dana Roselli. It is Monday. We're going to get started with weather and traffic with Kelsey McFarland filling in this morning. Hey, Kelsey.
Good morning, ladies. We're looking at things heating back up today after an unusually cool weekend. We saw those temps 10, 15 degrees cooler than what it usually is for this time of year. Right now, those temps right around 74 degrees. Dew point at 22. That means it's pretty dry out there. Winds not an issue early this morning, right around 3 miles per hour. That's expected to pick back up a tad. So again, we mentioned most areas now in the mid 70s. We're going to be warming back up to the mid 80s by around 9 a.m. Calm winds continue into the high 90s by around 1 p.m. If you're hitting outside areas by around 5 p.m. We're going to be hitting those triple digits, and winds are also going to be picking back up. Southwesterly winds right around 10, 15 miles per hour. Still going to be lingering in the 90s by those evening hours. So we're topping out in the triple digits for most areas into today and sticking around through the rest of the week. Taking a look now at the drive times for the resort corridor, you can expect things to be moving pretty well through most areas, right about 9 minutes if you're going from the I-215 to US 95. You're seeing those average speeds right around 50 miles per hour. Taking a look now, we're hearing reports of a crash right now on Southeastern and East Charleston Boulevard. It doesn't appear to be slowing anything down right now. Also, a reminder for drivers, HOV lanes are being enforced, and we've already seen dozens of people be ticketed for that. At least 2 people need to be in the vehicle, and you'll want to make sure to not drive over those double white lines because you could see fines up to $250.
We don't want that. Thanks, Kelsey. Well, we are digging deeper into the criminal history of a man accused of sexually assaulting a woman in broad daylight in a family park.
Court records showing at least 2 felony convictions before these most recent charges led him back to jail again. 59-year-old Ortez Winfrey is accused of sexually assaulting a woman Thursday morning. Police say he shoved the woman down, threatened her with a box cutter, and then assaulted her at the Wayne Bunker Family Park. Court records show he pleaded guilty to felony taking the property of another charges back in 1997. And then in 2014, he pled guilty to grand larceny charges. Ed Langford walks Bunker Park every day and says that if Winfrey's convicted of these newest charges, he'd like the judge to push the penalty as high as possible.
I don't think a person like that can even be rehabilitated. He's just too vicious and he's dangerous. He acts like an animal.
Winfrey is facing charges of sexual assault, kidnapping, battery to commit sexual assault, and robbery. His next court appearance is tomorrow morning. A family is devastated beyond words after their 8-year-old son with autism died over the weekend.
Jacob Davis was pulled from the backyard pool on his birthday. It's just heartbreaking news. Metro Police detectives believe it was just a tragic accident. Parents Andy and Heather Peterson live just a couple of doors down. Their family also touched by autism.
I just hope that people don't start immediately judging and placing blame on the caregivers, because children with autism do not, they don't function the same way as other kids.
Well, experts say children with autism are attracted to water, and because of their developmental struggles, the combination is often lethal. Experts also suggest flotation devices and life jackets, and stress constant supervision because it can only take seconds. The family says they don't have any extended family here in Las Vegas. Well, now to the latest on the ongoing conflict with Iran. U.S. officials say today harsh new sanctions will go into effect as the president says he's not looking for war.
But over the weekend, Iranian lawmakers were chanting death to America inside their parliament. ABC's Trevor Ault is in Washington with the latest.
With tensions high between Iran and the United States, today the Trump administration says it's rolling out new sanctions targeting Iran's economy in an effort to force them to the negotiating table.
If Iran wants to become a wealthy nation again, become a prosperous nation, we'll call it, let's make Iran great again.
The president saying he called off a military attack on Iran after learning how many Iranians would have likely been killed, telling NBC,
I'm not looking for war, and if there is, it'll be obliteration like you've never seen before, but I'm not looking to do that.
The president says he would be willing to talk with Iran with no preconditions. His top advisor saying a deal can be reached, but new video from inside Iran's parliament shows Iranian lawmakers chanting, "Death to America." ABC News has learned that while President Trump called off those strikes against Iran on Thursday, the White House did quietly greenlight a cyber attack the same day, disabling software on computer systems used to control rocket and missile launches. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo now meeting with allies in the Middle East about containing Iran.
This effort that we've engaged in to deny Iran the resources to foment terror, to build out their nuclear weapon system, to build out their missile program. We are going to deny them the resources they need to do that.
Iran continues to insist the American surveillance drone they shot down was flying in Iranian airspace, but the U.S. says it was clearly in international airspace and says they're ready to present proof of that to the UN Security Council later today. Trevor Ault, ABC News, Washington.
Well, the president's giving Congress 2 weeks to find solutions to the nation's immigration problems, or he says raids to deport 2,000 undocumented families will begin. He called off the nationwide ICE raids that were to begin this weekend in 10 U.S. cities. Lawmakers are considering legislation that would provide more than $4 billion in emergency funding to help border officials deal with incoming migrants. Lawyers who visited a holding center in Texas reported dirty and overcrowded conditions.
The conditions at these facilities are placing them at increased risk for infection, disease, and death.
Well, when asked about the reportedly dire circumstances, the president blamed Democrats. MGM Resorts International is suing an insurance company related to the 1 October shooting. It says more than 4,000 people are asking for compensation. MGM filed a lawsuit that alleges breach of contract by Zurich American Insurance Company. It alleges the insurer failed to pay defense costs for lawsuits against the Mandalay Bay resort owner after the shooting. MGM Resorts faces civil negligence claims.
Huge gaming news this morning. Caesars Entertainment is about to have a new owner.
Eldorado Resorts is buying Caesars in a cash and stock deal valued at $17.3 billion, creating a casino giant.
The deal puts 60 casino and resorts in 16 states under the Caesars name. Caesars is dealing with mountains of debt. The company emerged from bankruptcy in 2017. This deal is targeted to close in the first half of next year if it's approved by gaming regulators and shareholders.
Now, if you aren't familiar with Eldorado, the company owns and operates 26 properties in 12 U.S. states. According to Reuters, the combination of these two companies will create a serious competitor to larger casino industry players like Wynn Resorts, MGM Resorts International, and Las Vegas Sands. It's 4:38 now.
James Holzhauer making his World Series of Poker debut today. What he plans to do with his winnings.
Things are heating back up after a very cool and mild weekend. We'll tell you what to expect throughout the rest of your work week coming up.
Jeopardy! James will be back in the spotlight today, but in a different competition.